Hi there, it's Dr. JOYLYN Sparkles and welcome to your Power Hour. This is your time to put what's on your mind, on my mind, and we'll put our heads and hearts together and we will come up with a way to go from stuck to happy as fuck in as short amount of time as possible. Because that is what I live to do. It's what lights me up inside. These are the conversations I like to have and the shit I like to talk about, okay? So today is the last Power Hour of 2022. Can you believe it? This year has flown by. I actually remembered where I was sitting in the last Power Hour of 2021. So the amount of change that I've had in 365 or so days is insane. And I imagine that you too are a change maker and a fire starter and what other little adverb, adjective that you want to call yourself, and have had an equal amount of change because 2022 was a big transformative year. As a lot of them are, but this one had a lot of movement with it, and we're getting ready for 2023, which is going to have a whole lot more expansion. So let's talk about that, because if we're not ready, that can get to be painful AF. And if we're not careful, we will spill and lead with that pain and create a bigger mess and maybe not make the steps ahead that we'd like to at the pace we'd like to. So I'm just trying to here pull us up on the screen so I can see when comments and things come in. So there I am. Oh, there I am. Looking all orange. Okay. So the paradise is possible. That's what we're talking about. And if you notice my little post, paradise through paradox and paradigm. Creating a paradigm that is big enough to hold a paradox so that you can have paradise. Because alliteration is fun, okay? Why not play with words? And use them for our benefit. So here is the bottom line. The universe speaks in paradox. A paradox is a seeming contradiction. That means it has two parts that seem like they're in conflict, but they're actually both equally true. Now, one of the biggest ones that I find that the universe loves is you are the one and only most important being in the entire universe. Because as you say, the universe bends to your will. You are the most important person in the world. And nothing has anything to do with you because everyone else is also the most important person in the entire universe. They're both equally true. And so you can control everything, but you can't control anything because it's all you and none of it's you. Get it? It's crazy. One of the ones that Access Consciousness uses that I'm going to touch on again, but I'll mention it here, is everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Or nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, and everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Or let's just put it on repeat. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Because of our three-dimensional nature and the retinas and how they're designed, we can only perceive what is available in more or less the visible light spectrum. We might be able to get heat, in infrared and ultraviolet, obviously our skin responds to, but generally about 3% of what's available is visible. And yet, how many of us were told seeing is believing and I gotta see it to believe it? So there's a whole lot of stuff that is happening in and around and within us that we're totally refusing to acknowledge and discounting as true because we can't see it, when we're really only designed with this magical meat suit to be able to see 3%. And that's just how it is. So maybe expanding and understanding that there is more going on than we were ever aware of. Okay. Where we're going to get into some problems here, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth because when you talk about paradoxes and paradigms, that's just how it is, because they're both true, but we're doing a dance and learning how to flow and be able to hold both of them. Because I can't remember if it was Gabor Mate or Viktor Frankl. It's one of those who was in a really tough situation, does a lot of work with trauma, and has said that our healing, our maturity is evident in our ability to hold seemingly conflicting views at the same time without reacting. To where we can hold our pain without reacting to it. We can witness and sometimes even receive others' pain because they'll throw shit at us without reacting to it. We can see how 2 points of view can be true at the same time. And this goes a lot with religions. They're all true. They all hold pieces of truth because the whole truth includes them all. And as we heal and grow and expand, we're able to hold more space for all those pieces and recognize there's more going on than meets the eye, okay? Think Transformers. We're transforming, okay? This is exciting. Now, a paradigm is a set of assumptions, concepts, values, or practices that constitute a way of viewing reality for the community that shares them. And that's straight from Webster's Dictionary or something, dictionary.com, whatever. So a paradigm is sort of like an organizing principle. It's an agreement that people hold that this is how reality is. And for a lot of us, what goes up must come down because we all agree to gravity. Okay? It makes sense. We've all seen it. We all have felt it. Okay? Falling off a bike or a building or whatever it is. Out of a tree. You know, those things. Religions and how you view that will be an organizing principle and how you live your life. Some people are adamant that this is YOLO. You only live once. And that's it. That's it. Like, there's no reincarnation. Like, that's it. You go in the ground and just wait for everybody else to join you. Like, that's it. And there are some people who said there's one God. There's only one God. There's only ever been one God. And so anybody who worships multiple deities is wrong. And a lot of people agree to that. Then there will be some people who say, oh, astrology is it. Astrology explains the entirety of personalities, and so all we have to do is find ourselves there. These are paradigms. They are organizing principles. They're a set of assumptions so that when you meet a Capricorn, oh, I already know how this is going to go. Okay? That is the blessing and curse of paradigms. They will help simplify and organize thoughts and information, but can also become limiting factors in and of themselves because they cannot often cannot embrace the entirety of the paradox of everything is true and nothing, all that I said before. Okay, so a paradigm is generally not everlasting because it's not the whole truth. And how do we know this? Because paradigms shift and they change and they break apart. And how do we know this? Is because we are living this right now. There is a giant paradigm shift right now universally with an ascension. There are people waking up, like people having aha moments that we thought were going to be stuck in the mud forever. There's also a shift from patriarchy to matriarchy. We're seeing a shift in power where women are rising, speaking up more. There is a more call for community rather than this individual pull yourself up by the bootstraps thing. But and a little bit more of not the power through force and domination, but power through community and joint effort. These are the things that are starting to shift and change. And what we'll see with paradigms, oh, and here's the other one because I like to use medical ones. There was a paradigm, and this is where I want you to get. They are changeable. They are not hard and fast. They are useful until they become outdated and can't hold new information. Because I want you all to remember, at one point, I believe it was in, 1700s, 1800s, I don't even remember. But the height of medical science said that leeches were the best thing to get toxicity out of the blood, okay? That was what you did to get cured. You attached a leech or really many leeches to people to suck out whatever toxin this was. Now, I imagine that some people got better because they believed they would get better. But then, as we learned a little bit more about how the body works, It wasn't actually working. It's not like the leeches could identify a toxin and pull that out. They were pulling out lots of things, including your blood. So the vital force within us was kind of, and it's gross. And it had to go because it actually wasn't working. Because at some point, more people were dying or getting worse than were getting better. It proved itself obsolete. Our paradigms for who we are, how the world operates. It's time to re-examine them. And what better time than New Year's time? We've just had the benefit of a new moon, also a good time to reevaluate some things. Because what we know, because I imagine every single one of you have had this experience, that the harder you hold on, the more painful it gets, and the more you're going to see that your old coping mechanisms and the old ways of doing stuff, your old routines, they start to break down and let you down. You're going to experience things being harder. You're going to almost watch yourself go crazy and watch things fall apart, even though you're doing everything that you used to do the same way that you always used to do them. So how come you, your body, or other people aren't responding the same way? Because there is such a giant global energetic shift that is calling for a new paradigm that is greater, larger, and more expansive. And with that, our definitions of ourselves, what we're able and capable to do, how we've operated, what's possible, all these things are going to have to get renegotiated and reintegrated. We're going to have to change our nervous systems with this, okay? Because to a large extent, what a lot of people have done so far is it's been really theoretical, and we can operate like that and use our rationing, logical mind to make all our choices. And now we're saying that when I do that, I still end up at a loss. I either lost out on money, or that didn't go the way that I want, or this person flaked out or bailed, or it just came crashing down. And what happened? Because it's now time for the heart to lead. That is clear. Earth says so, and she's going to win. Because we're all animals. This magical meat suit is an animal. It's of the earth, from the earth, for the earth. And as she arises and changes and says, hey, we got to do better here, we got to meet and answer that call. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, I talked about a paradigm being an organizing principle. And so we can do this individually. Now, what a lot of us, the paradigm that's been the reality, is looking to the outside for answers. The evidence is on the outside, and so that's how I know if I'm doing okay. And so we've had an external locus of control and a very mind-driven system of operating. And that's got to change to where instead of pulling all our energy into changing other people and getting other people to understand us and where I'm coming from and getting more people on my bandwagon, that we're going to see that's where our energy keeps leaking, because really what's being called is for us to have our attention. And how do we feel? Because instead of doing boundaries from the outside and drawing that line in the sand and say, you don't cross here, and now I'm going to have all my energy paying attention to you, so that even while I suffer from thirst, dehydration, shallow breathing, because I'm in constant beta brainwave patterns, I'm watching you, and you actually are the main character of my life. That's depleting, it's exhausting, it's frustrating, and it doesn't work. And it's going to work even less good from this moment forward. Because boundaries, happiness, is an inside job. We start paying attention to ourselves. Where are the insecurities? Where are the energy leaks? Let me start filling those and patching those with love, with self-compassion. That when I notice I'm eating a lot more or drinking a lot more, and I kind of know that that's not good for me, instead of judging myself and putting down the rules and saying, this New Year's, I'm going to do it different, I'm going to give it up, when, let's be real, that's never actually worked for any of us. We say, hey, I see you. You are eating like there's no tomorrow. What is going on? And you get in touch with some fear or stress that says, I need to be loved this way right now. I just need to be by myself, or I need a hug, or I need water. Like sometimes it's simple. And sometimes it's this little kid who was 4 years old who said, I remember this day. It was the day that my pet died, or my dad got really mad and threw the Christmas tree across the room, or something that scared us and rattled us inside and now is emerging to ask for our love now. So instead of coming down with these rules and this hard and fast way of fixing things, we start giving ourselves love and loving ourselves through this. This is the new way of doing things, the new paradigm. So when we're talking about new paradigms, here are three essential elements, because I'm doing my outline. Okay, number one, we all know this. There's actually hardly anything I ever talk about that you don't already know. I just might say it in a way that kind of lands and it, like, the light bulb goes off. Okay, that's the hope. Number one, as within, so without. And people like Rumi were saying this in like the 14th century. This is the thing that's been planted in our soul from the beginning of time. You are the most important person in the universe, and it bends to your will. But whatever's going to happen is going to be an internal process and change before it happens on the external. We've been doing it backwards, saying, I'll know I'm worthy when other people tell me how great I look, when other people respect me and give me the love I deserve. Oh, I can't stand that with relationship stuff. I'll know I'm worthy when I look a certain way, when I'm able to control the fuck out of myself enough to get myself down to 1,500 calories so I can get into a size 2. I'll know I'm worthy when I have enough money to buy the car of my dreams or the house or whatever. When worth is an internal knowing. And once we know that, as it says in the Bible, all of these things shall be added unto you. Everything you want will magnetize from your worth. Because you'll know that I'm part of the creation. You cannot separate creator from created. So my worth comes from that. It's internal. It's just who I be. I'm worthy because I am. I'm breathing. There's the evidence of my worth. And so from that place of worthiness, we can ask the big guy, the big girl, the full creator, because we're like the drops in the ocean, every bit part of the ocean. The ocean isn't complete without us, but not the whole ocean. That as this drop in the ocean, from this worthiness of knowing that every part and constituent, like I am that then I can ask, hey, I'd like this. Show me how to do that. And you start getting these things. Because it will take action. You're in the 3D dimensional plane. You don't just sit here and wait for it to like drop from the sky. Like Santa Claus is a bit of a myth. It's a little bit of a stretch. Sometimes things do magically pop up like that. But it's when you know your worth. And then you go out of your house to the grocery store and you smile at people and have nice conversation that you then make more friends. And then maybe meet the love of your life. But you have to get outside your doors and outside of your head. Okay? See, that's how the paradox is going together. Okay. As within, so without. Happiness is an inside job. No one else, nothing else needs to change in order for you to be happy. That's one of my tenets of personal coaching. You'll hear it over and over again. And what we're going to do is rearrange that internal, because the thing that's keeping you from actually totally knowing that on a cellular level is trauma and programming. It's outdated paradigms that are ready to go. So we can let them go, and there's tools that help you let them go, okay? As within, so without. That's part one of your paradigm that's essential. 2, we're coming into a feminine paradigm shift. Now, what does this mean? Especially for dudes. You don't have to be effeminate. You don't have to be, I'm actually kind of masculine-ish, except I do like my curly hair. But I just like to be outside and moving a lot. No big deal. Again, one of the big things is peace and prosperity go together. We're coming out of a warring system, out of domination. It's not going to be power over, it's going to be power through. That is where the feminine has a more collective, receptive energy. That's it. It's kind of like from the bottom up and we're lifting up instead of the top down. They're both actually essential because, as you know, the yin and the yang and the universe is a total paradox. We need them both. But right now we got a little bit overdone on the masculine, so now it's shifting. Let's get to balance and be a little bit more receptive, a little bit softer, a little bit more open, a little bit more vulnerable. That strength is actually going to be coming and displayed through vulnerability, our willingness to show up as our real selves. I'm hurting today. I could really benefit from a hug. I'm hurting today. I just need to be in my own energy. I'm going to put on my headset. Here's the other one that a lot of empaths don't know that we can do. I'm so freaking lit up on life. And I just want to kiss everybody I see like Elf. I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it. That's also going to be part. And we can show up that way and be obnoxious as fuck and get judged for being obnoxious, but hey, we're happy today. Oh, and here's another thing, and I'll share this. You might get called bipolar because we may be willing now to express parts of ourselves that we've really kept under and then discover that we like them but not know how to hold them full time. So there will be a period of instability. So it's okay as a receptive, more vessel. It's okay to be judged. Just let it pass through you. It's not the truth. It's just someone operating on an old paradigm of having labels and diagnoses and hard and fast rules being the cool thing. When really we know I'm creating a new reality and I'm doing it by being more vulnerable and open to who I am and actually expressing that and bringing that to the world. And I don't know how to do that actually very well because nobody I ever grew up around knew how to do that. So I'm kind of learning as I go. I had a friend that I worked with, and his wife would call it fumble fucking. We're fumble fucking around, figuring out how to do this as we go. It's all okay. None of the judgment's real, okay? It's just energy. They're just labels. You take off the label, you let the energy pass, everything's okay, okay? So maybe I'll add that as a 2A. Don't take anything super seriously. Why? Because everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what appears to be. You might have elements of whatever diagnosis. We're all in the DSM. It's also not that big of a deal because we're all in the DSM, okay? Let's just let it go. Pay more attention to ourselves. Be aware of our own happiness level and our mental and emotional resilience. That's the within that we're going to feel and experience first to start noticing changes outside and people responding and reacting to us different, okay? Stability is an inside job. Happiness is going to be built on a rock, okay? All right, then we've got law of similars instead of law of opposites. Like a lot of the duality and this internal conflict is thinking that it has to be one or the other when it's actually both. And the law of attraction comes when we resonate with something. That's when it gets magnetized and added to us. So it's actually always been in operation. It was just easy to discount it because what we were actually magnetizing was crap. And that's what we got used to and didn't actually realize it was because that's the level and frequency we were resonating at and the beliefs and the paradigms we were organizing ourselves and our lives around. For instance, me and my family, you got attention if something was going wrong. If things are going well in your life, you kind of just get pushed to the side. But hey, we're human beings. So even when things are going well, you kind of want somebody to share them with, right? So then what happens? We have to kick our happiness to the curb and create some sort of problem so that people will then come and want to be with you again. And then when I decided that is a crap operating system, I don't like it at all, there has been a great, almost desert-like wilderness of loneliness in the in-between of I refuse to gather community around a problem anymore. I have to learn how to get legs and feet underneath this body of thought and belief that it's possible to build community around happiness. And that's what I've been doing. And let me tell you, at this moment in time, it's within. I believe it. My cells are starting to change. The mental, the thoughts that come up when bad things happen to me is so much more encouraging. I actually am my best friend. I'm my coach. I still have coaches because I like them, but I am able to coach and mentor myself through things. Any emotional disturbance and upset generally is all the way through in about 20 minutes. And if it's not, I know it's not mine. This is super different to how I was even a year ago. But what I haven't seen yet is my family is still telling me that I'm the problem kid. I'm the one that needs to forgive. I'm the one that's holding all the anger. When I'm really not angry, I'm just not participating anymore. But that's the emotional manipulation. And now going to relocate again in order to actually build a sustainable community where I know other people who are interested in happiness are living. Not that they're not here, but there's just other socioeconomic factors, and I want to live closer to the ocean, okay? So I'm moving. So there's that, okay? As within, so without, but it comes from me, my choice, what I am going to live by. That's going to start to create, and it's already starting to roll out for me and for you, okay? Then, feminine. It's all about receiving. That means we got to relax. And this is a hard one for you perfectionists. I'm a recovering perfectionist. To always feel that your worth is in your productivity or to the level of perfection and detail that you've been able to offer. It's not. Your worth is guaranteed because it's intrinsic to your being. And if we're going to receive the intuitive hits that we all know that they can be inconvenient as hell, but when we listen to them, things are kind of magical and more fun and turn out better than we thought. If we're actually going to be open to receive those, we got to shut up and relax and let it come, which is really hard when we're striving and trying. Now, I have now noticed, again, with my internal dialogue, that when it comes up in my head space, in my conversation, I'm trying, I need to stop. Because that's exactly what's almost pushing it away is I'm trying, I'm striving, I am scanning my environment, I am totally in beta brainwaves, looking for something external to do in order to change how I be instead of just relax, breathe, get into some alpha brainwave patterns and let some information come to you, and then what you do will be a more inspired action that, even though it might not look like it's connected, is somehow connected. Weird stuff. I cannot think of something off the top of my head, but I might here in a minute. But anyway, also community. This is not the time to do it alone. That is passing. Of course, this journey is yours, your soul contract, you're living it out. There are some things that only you can do. But the DIY, trying to figure it out, piecemeal things are always going to be available. And if that's your path and that's what you want, fine. It's going to work because here's all roads lead back to one, okay? So you can't do it wrong, but the fastest, funnest, easiest way is going to be through community and connecting with other people who are valuing the same things you do. It's going to be communities based on values, to where it might be still activity driven, but the values are going to be the same. Or even within a group, let's say it's basketball. You go play basketball. You're going to start finding that you're making connections and enjoying a certain type of people that are there for basketball because they love their bodies rather than beating the crap out of people or dominating or showing off. I surfing and mountain biking, but I tend to gravitate towards the people who enjoy those activities because of their love of the earth and being in nature rather than wanting to be a bro or a rad dude. Just a value set. There's nothing wrong with either person. That's just what my values. So I tend to enjoy the people who share values. And then I'm more likely to keep going and contribute to growing that community. Okay? It's just a faster ripple effect in community that way. Okay? So as we move now into 2023, how do we do this? The best thing to do is to reevaluate your paradigm and make sure that it opens up, it's open enough, expansive enough to hold some paradox, some seeming contradictions. Because what happens if you are really uncomfortable, if you are struggling with high-level anxiety, depression, burnout, PTSD, compulsive eating, whatever it is, the likelihood is that your paradigm, even your belief system about who you are and what you're capable of, is too small. And it's like fitting into the pair of pants you were when you were 6 when you created that paradigm, because a lot of them are child brain survival mechanisms. Now, we don't want to be living according to child brain because they were cute and adorable and they deserve love, but they had a 6-year-old level of functionality and ability to see more. Now we have more life experience, bigger bodies, we can reach the gas pedals, pay bills, all these amazing things. It's time to update that and start holding that we can be happy and sad at the same time. We can love someone and be mad at them. But we cannot love them and label them and put them into a box because that's not actual love. So we're going to have to learn the difference, reevaluate paradigms, because if we don't, fitting in at 42, 48, 36, whatever age you are, into a pair of pants that you are when you were 5, and because they're metaphorical pants, you're actually going to get them on, but you're going to look like SpongeBob SquarePants and like really muffin, like you're not going to be able to breathe. Okay, that's painful. And that's how we've been living. That's painful. And when we're in that level of pain and we can't breathe, our brains don't work right, we become assholes. And we start leading with that pain and communicating that pain. So that's what is preceding us. And then when you've got a paradigm that can't hold any paradox, you've got constant internal conflict going on. Because is this true? It's not. It is. It's not. It's it. It's not. That comes out as a lot of self-doubt, which will roll into a lot of procrastination, which will roll into a lot of flaking out on stuff. So you keep getting this stop and start thing going on with your life, with your relationships, with your business. As soon as you make some momentum, you stop because your paradigm hasn't opened up enough. The quick fix really is sometimes when you're in that, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Say it 3 to 6 times. It'll actually kind of get your brain to stop. Like doing the razzle-dazzle. Razzle-dazzle actually sounds like a cool thing to do. But, you know, the hamster wheel. The not good thing. Another thing is to do an infinity sign. Follow it with your eyes. This will get some information crossing your brain hemispheres in a little bit different way. Those are 2 quick fixes. But if you're in it for the long haul because you're really ready for something different, it's time to bring community in. And that's where the Happiness Clinic, myself, and my sparkles, and my sparkling personality become available for you. And I've got 2 big hitters coming in January. Happiness Brain Training is the simple one that's geared entirely on mindset and identity shift. So it's super simple, super workable into a schedule. It's basically, we'll have a little group call to work on the paradigm and the identity. And then you're taking the next 66 days to reinforce that in a community setting, you get prompted every morning to say, who are you becoming? What's your priority? And every day you say, this is who I am, this is who I'm becoming. In different ways, shapes, and forms. But you keep repeating it so that your brain and your body start to recognize this is the new me. It is absolutely amazing. That's going to start beginning of January. The other one is Love Yourselves, where we're going for the long game, and it's a year. And it's going to start every quarter, but the first one's going to start January 11th. And this is where we're actually working on embodying that more. So all the mindset work that's in happiness brain training is in here, but we're bringing our bodies into it. So a lot of the people that are going to be looking for this, ready for this, are those who have some sort of health issue that doesn't seem to resolve, especially weight issues. Because a lot of us have only known how to take up space by physically taking up space. We've only known how to protect ourselves from other people and our feelings by putting on weight. And because of some of the choices that we've conditioned our body to, that's the only choice we've given our body in order to shuttle toxicity away from our internal organs, is to put on extra adipose tissue, okay? But we're not going to focus on judging ourselves out of that, because we've all done that. New year, new you, and it hasn't worked yet. And I'm going to start on January 1st and not even the middle of winter, because that's February 2nd. Did you know that? That's midwinter point. Okay, so in the front part of winter, when your body is actually asking to be the most sedentary, we're going to try to push cardio and then wonder why by spring we're already dealing with the first signs of burnout, okay? We're not doing that because we got the long game in mind, but here's what's absolutely fabulous. It doesn't take that long. Once we start working with nature, including our bodies, this magical meat suit, once we start working with it, we start getting change much easier, because we're no longer trying to paddle upstream. We're actually using everything that's available so that we can go with the flow, and we start to experience change and greater vitality and loving in a much shorter amount of time, okay? Because that's what I am dedicated to, because it took me decades to figure this stuff out. But then when I did, I was like, oh, I wish somebody had been talking about this stuff forever. Oh, and the space of no judgment, because I've done about everything I can imagine the wrong way, including the first person who said, if you want to lose weight, you got to love yourself. And this is what happened internally. You don't know what you're talking about, until I tried it and it worked. And then I was humbled, okay? But we're going to learn how to do that in a way that's actually fun, and other people are going to be doing it too. I have so many grand ideas. I can't wait to share it with you. That starts January 11th. Message me, get on the wait list. And if you're ready for happiness brain training, sometime between now and the start, which is probably going to be Monday the 2nd, January 2nd, because why not start on a Monday? And you can roll in through the first week of January, 66 days. We're going to have a little Zoom powwow to actually get your paradigms, your identity shifts set, so where they're not based on judgment, they're not based on fixing anything, because nothing's wrong. It's just, what would you like to add to your life, and getting connected to the worth you have within, so that it can just be magnetized easily, okay? Magic is available. 2023 is calling for you to step into this, and I would love to be part of that, to hold your hand and hold you in a circle, to really be there for you. So let me contact me. I don't care if you call me, email me, message me, comment on here, whatever. Let's connect. You can schedule a call for clarity. I'll put the link in that for that. And wow, paradise is possible when our paradigms are big enough to hold some paradox. All right? Blessings to you. Happy New Year. I can't wait to see you on the other side. Next Power Hour will be Wednesday, January 4th. Okay. I love you dearly. Have a great one. Mwah.